Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unexpected Results, the Eternal Podcast. Coming at you live with, technically, episode 4. And I know what you're thinking, but you've only been doing this for this is the third week. Yeah. We did a bonus episode, little mini episode last night, so with Tony G, we'll talk about that in a bit. That's episode 3. Here we are, episode 4, Unexpected Results, the Eternal Podcast, of course, coming at you live every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/ThePlatypusKing. With me, as always, is my co-host, the Mantid Man. How are you doing today?
I'm well, and I just have to say, I was told I didn't have the gall to do this, so I'm going to do it anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mantid Man, and I am the advocate for the longest-running, hardest-hitting, primetime Eternal Podcast, Unexpected Results.
Fantastic. All right, I'm going to have to chop that into some kind of song somehow. Make it our intro. That'll be good.
Other than that, I'm doing great. It's been a long weekend, but it has been a lot of fun. You know, there's been a lot of stuff going on, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm very excited.
As am I. Well, should we just dive straight into the ETS results?
I think we should.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and do that. So we had what is it? Week 6 of the ETS of season 2. Week 6 of the ETS was this last Saturday, a couple days ago, and yeah, we had a pretty good top 8 here. I would say we got a couple premier players, a returning player even, and a couple of innovative lists. One of which has a card that I've never seen played before in this game.
Are the initials TDD?
Yes, absolutely.
I can't wait to talk about that. But let's talk a little bit about the winner. I gave him a bunch of crap on Twitter. Very playful. He and I have a good repertoire back and forth. Lights Out Ace playing Scrappy Hour. Been promoting it on Twitter all week. We talked about it last week, I think, even a little bit. And man, he brought it, won it. Woo!
Yep. Seen all the hyperbolic statements that he was making on Twitter about the deck and all that stuff. Almost made me consider. It made me consider bringing the list to the tournament as well, but I didn't know how to build a sideboard for it, nor how to properly sideboard with it. So, I decided to not bring this deck. But yeah, Scrappy Hour. He hyped it all week, and then he backed it up on Saturday. And took down the whole thing.
Yeah, so let's, we'll talk about it a little bit, because you and I did talk back and forth off stream. Like, is this deck actually worth playing? If it is there a way to build a sideboard for it? And that's, I actually really like his sideboard one, because it has another card that you don't see a ton of anymore, especially in the tournament scene. That's Caleb's Intervention. Granted, he only had one, but I like that. And then Suffocate, man, you don't see Suffocate like anymore anywhere. But there's been a lot of bringing in of the Rip Knife, and it's another card to pop an Aegis or to kill the Paladin. What's her face? The 2/1
Crownwatch Paladin.
Yeah, Crownwatch Paladin. And then my favorite card in his sideboard, which from the games that I saw that he was in didn't get a ton of play, but I just like the inclusion of it, was Treachery. I love the card. The art on it's really cool. But it definitely has its place. So I'm glad that he thought to include it. And I can't wait to pick his brain a little bit on what made him decide to include it.
Yes, it'll be. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about the sideboard of his deck with him. We got Tripwire Grenadin in there as well, which has not really seen any tournament play. Like when the card first got spoiled, well, I mean, it's not like the most exciting card in the world, right? It's a 2-cost 1/2 unit summon, deal 1 damage, entomb, deal 1 damage. But there was talk of it being a nice anti-aggro card. You play it, you kill Oni Ronin. You chump block Rakano Outlaw, and you take care of the Pyro Knight, you know? Like, that would be the idea. Rakano Outlaw, yeah, you chump block Rakano Outlaw.
Yeah.
Take something else out on its way. Something like that. That would be like the dream, right? So, yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, the deck itself, if you don't pay attention on Twitter and you don't pay attention in our stream or his stream or even the Eternal Discord server, it is the standard play a bunch of Grenadin, kill your own Grenadin, kill the enemy stuff like with Madness and Combust and things like that. Then you play your bombs, you play Gear Cruncher to do some work, you play Scrap Tank to do a lot of work as well, and then you coup de grace with the Witching Hour, which just brings in, 4 very versatile, very utilitarian cards. You get a flyer, you get a killer, you get a deadly, and you get a lifesteal, and they're all 4/4s.
Yes. Yeah, and to the uninitiated, you play Grenadin Drone and Assembly Line, not so much to attack with them. Like, yeah, you're going to do that, but you're actually a control deck. So the main use for all of your Grenadins, all of your little 1/1s, is to chump block and preserve your life total and just stall the game out until you can, play out Stone Scar Scrapper, start trading them in for more cards, and eventually get to both Gear Cruncher to gain complete board control and not let anything that's not flying get through you, or, like you said, the Witching Hour. Man, every time somebody brings up the card, the Witching Hour, I just think of that Iron Maiden song, Number of the Beast.
Me too. I hear it in my head.
Yeah. But yeah, the list is definitely sweet.
Oh, it's great. We'll link it in the chat for the people watching live. And if you're not watching live, go on Eternal Warcry and just type in Scrappy Hour, or click the ETS results and it's the one with the trophy next to it.
Yes. So just a quick rundown of the remaining decks and pilots. In second, we had Rakano Drone Dropper, not an archetype that I've ever heard of, by somebody named Ben Buford. Then we got Moist Jund but Moister, also known as Armory, by Tony G. These people and their names. FTJ Tokens from Ether Llama. Bant Midrange by Mundungu. I can't say that player's name. And we had Flash 2351 playing a Sentinel Reanimator deck that was built by Isomorphic.
I was going to say, the ISO in ISO Stirring Odyssey stands for ISO's Stirring Odyssey, is the name of the deck.
These people. And then we had TJP Midrange from Mock Sapphire, which was the same list that Moosh played last week. And then AP Midrange, of course, making another top 8 appearance, this time in the hands of Darth Mask. Yeah, pretty exciting top 8, if you ask me. Yeah, the FTGA tokens list is basically just Praxis tokens splashing for Stand Together and Crown Watch Press Gang, the newly buffed card that we've talked about a few times since in the last couple of weeks.
And look, something that this top 8 and even a lot of the top across the board will tell you, and it's something that Platypus King hits on his stream a lot, is stop playing Reign of Frogs.
Exactly. Oh man, yeah, it doesn't matter. There's too many Reign of Frogs stories that I could tell where it results in me winning because I'm playing an Obelisk, Xenon Obelisk deck. Like, oh great, now I have free creatures. That's great. I get to just cantrip through them when I draw them instead of casting them for mana. For power.
Or if you're playing against somebody who's playing the Witching Hour, which is a bunch of decks now. There's a few different archetypes that play Witching Hour. All you're doing is either giving them a 0-cost guy in their hand or a card that plays itself automatically when they draw it if you're not hitting Witching Hour with Reign of Frogs. So it is, yes, there are times when it is worth it, but right now in the way the game plays and the speed of the meta, especially in tournaments, is just not usually a good card.
Exactly.
All right. So, just for those of you, again, there's a lot of new players coming in. So, for those of you who have stumbled across the podcast or who have searched it out because it is the Eternal Podcast, the ETS is a tournament that is run by RNG Eternal, and it is every Saturday starting at noon Eastern, and it runs depending on the turnout. And the organization runs anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, I guess, plus or minus.
Yeah, that is accurate. Probably around 4 to 5 hours, and then if you top 8, another hour or two.
Yep. And I will tell you that, especially for the new players, but even for the veteran, well, not necessarily veteran players, but the players who are seasoned, who have been in the game longer, watching the ETS, especially at the beginning of a month, which are now called chapters. So at the beginning of a chapter, watching the ETS and playing the decks that you see doing well and kind of implementing the sideboard a little bit as you see fit into your deck will absolutely help you in your climb. If you're struggling to get out of silver, struggling to get out of gold, or God forbid you're in that just slog through diamond, seeing how these decks interact with the top meta decks, because people bring just meta decks that have gotten them to Masters, and seeing these other decks that beat them, it is a great way to climb, and it's a great way to learn new mechanics and interactions as long as you practice with them. That's something we talked about last week, is having a good deck, it will only do you so much. Play with the decks, learn the decks, watch people, watch streamers, and you can actually get to Masters consistently.
Yes. I mean, I can't imagine not getting to Masters in ranked in a month.
Yeah, but it is. There was one month where I waited to the last second, and it was a bit of a grind. But this is last month actually, so
yeah.
I ended up making it. But yeah, it's well worth it. The game is already really friendly for free to play players. You don't have to spend really any money to do anything. But getting to Masters gets you that sweet, shiny, premium legendary card, which either goes in your collection, or if you're building your collection, lets you break it down and make it's a straight legendary craft for cards that you're missing. So get to
Such
Masters.
As that fourth copy of Heart of the Vault, you finally
right.
craft it.
Fourth copy of Heart of the Vault, fourth copy of Feast Caller, fourth copy of The Witching Hour.
Yeah, I mean, who really needs a premium mind link anyway, other than Yottabyte?
All right, well, let's talk a little bit. We both kind of hit on this at the beginning. Let's talk a little bit about the Rakano Drone Dropper deck. So yes. This is your standard shell around Rakano, which is Fire and Justice, or for the uninitiated, Red and Green. It plays cards that have Warcry and cards that have Lifesteal, and it pumps their dudes, things like that. You play relic weapons and just weapons. Pants is one of the terms that's used a lot in Eternal, or really any TCG or CCG.
Yeah.
But it has a card that we have not seen, not only in the ladder scene, but especially in the tournament scene, and it's Tinker Drone Dropper. So tell everybody a little bit about this card there, Platypus King.
So Tinker Drone Dropper, I think it was one of the first cards I actually opened from set 3 when that came out. It looks like a very interesting card. It costs 4, it's a 3/4 flyer. It's a double red, double fire, double justice influence. And it's a 3/4 flyer. When it hits the enemy player, you get to play a 1/1 Grenadin. Now, I've played this card a little bit, and I've drafted it once or twice. I think I even splashed this card in a draft once, which is not an easy feat since it is very strict influence requirements. And it was really good for me in the Singleton event that we'll talk about later as well. But yeah, this card, it looks really fun. It looks like a fun card. It looks like it just needs like a little bit more support or something, or maybe if it was a 3-drop, it would see a lot more play. I mean, but at the end of the day, at minimum, this is a really cool card, and I am happy to see it have at least one moment, have its 5 minutes in the spotlight here.
Yeah, it does. So it doesn't have a lot of protection. Flying is really its only protection. It does have a big butt without having a lot of damage. So
doesn't die to torch.
It does not die to Torch. It does not die to Hailstorm. It does not
More
die
importantly.
to it does not die to uh, Justice. I just blanked. The kill 4 attacker more.
Island's Choice?
No, Vanquish.
Well, Island's Choice too.
Island's Choice, yeah. So it doesn't die to Island's Choice. It doesn't die to Vanquish. So it fits in a very good location based on its attack and its hit points. It just doesn't have a lot of other protection outside of being flying. But if it does what it's supposed to just once, if it just hits the enemy player once, it has absolutely fulfilled its need. It has generated a substantial amount of value. It's created a chump blocker. It's created another target for things like Deep Forge Plate or Hammer, things like that. Like it gives you another butt on the field, even if it's just a little 1/1 that you didn't have to spend resources on.
Yeah, I could see trying it out in the in Ether Llama's Fire Time Justice tokens list. Because it, again, like you said, it survives Hailstorm, and it's it's an army in a can, right? It's one card that, if left untouched, is going to win the game. It could theoretically win the game on its own. And just keep poking out little dorks to hang out with you. I mean, hey, we might as well just try out a Gear Cruncher deck with Tinker Drone Dropper. Why not? That's right. There's a lot of reasons.
Have a bunch of cards to protect. You're right. There are a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to do that, but it's the deck in and of itself is it's actually very affordable. It only plays 6 legendaries, and I would go as far to say that even without Ikaria, this deck could make it to Masters if played correctly and tweaked a little bit. Deep Forge Plate, I don't think you can get away from using, though.
I think the deck would actually probably be even better. Would probably actually be better with only 2 Ikaria and 4 Deep Forge Plate instead. Yeah. And and if you're missing Deep Forge Plates, I mean, I guess say you only have 3 plates and 2 Ikarias, that's fine. Play a couple Morning Stars or some other pants. Some other attachments to put on.
This is a question I'll ask. By the way, we've alluded to it a little bit, and we'll talk about it in just a minute. We are going to be interviewing Lights Out Ace, and I would like to get his take on this deck, obviously, as we talk about his deck as well. This is not one he made, but he's had some comments on it. But I would put in ranked, 1 or 2 copies of Smith's Hammer in this to give Overwhelm to the Drone Dropper, because in Eternal, hitting the enemy does not mean hitting the enemy directly. So if you put a Smith's Hammer on it, which is 2/0 and gives Overwhelm, and you run into like a Valkyrie Enforcer, 1 damage still gets through, and it still generates your 1/1 token. So
2 damage would get through.
You're right. Yeah, 2 damage would get through because she does have 3 attack already. My bad.
Or in the mirror. Boom. Mirror Breaker.
There you go.
You have your own Tinker Drone Dropper on defense. Guess what? I'm still getting my Grenadin.
That's right. Were there any other decks that you thought in the top 8 or just in general that you thought were kind of stand out?
I really enjoyed Ether Llama's Fire Time Justice tokens list. Now, as well as Tony G's Armory list. Let's talk about Ether Llama's list first, though. I mean, a lot of people are probably sick of seeing Praxis tokens, and that's fine. That's understandable. However, this is a nice, fresh take on that, I think. Like, splashing for Stand Together is a very powerful thing to do.
And it opens up a card that we talked about last week. Splashing for Stand Together gets you access to Crown Watch Press Gang, which generates your 1/1s, which are no longer 1/1s in this deck.
I heard Ether Llama refer to Crown Watch Press Gang as Scrap Tank with Revenge, because most of the time that you play the card, you're gonna go get Grenadin Drone, right? So
that's right. No, I think this is a great deck. Everybody craps on tokens a lot. I hate tokens. Oh, it's so much crap. Oh, tokens lose to Harsh Rule. No,
it's just an ace-based deck.
Harsh Rules in it.
Yeah.
It's great. And again, it's a very affordable deck. This one only plays 4 legendaries and only has like Flamestokers, I think, in the sideboard. But, and the legendary is Heart of the Vault, which actually, I guess, isn't really required. But my favorite card in this deck is Marison's Disciple. I don't know why I even like it so much. I think it's probably because you can either play a big booty sandcrawler, that 3/3 beetle, or you can play a killer guy. Like you can play a locust, sure, but the scorpion or the beetle are where it's at.
I used to get the locust a lot when I would try token decks, a year ago before set 2 even came out. Not as much anymore, for sure. Yeah, and if you don't have Heart of the Vault and you want to try this deck out, you could put in 2 more Praxis Displacers, you could put in 2 more Obliterates, you could play some number of Rally. I think you'd be better off having another threat or removal spell such as Obliterate. You could play, maybe you happen to randomly have opened Shogun of the Waste, play that in there. And then just, as you're grinding out the Shift Stone, after all the winning you're going to do with this list, you can slowly start crafting your Heart of the Vault and whatnot. But this list doesn't rely on Heart of the Vault. That's kind of like your backup plan. It's kind of like at the top of your curve, after, if they're still alive after you've already gone through your assault, you go ahead and drop a big unit and draw an extra card.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's be honest. What Heart of the Vault actually is doing here is it's squeaking in 2 more damage, and like 60% of the deck that is drawn from this card is a unit that can be played for 0 or 1 at that point.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I love all Xenon Obelisk decks. Like, my heart is on the side of like Armory, kill everything, then kill you. But I do really like go wide Obelisk style strategies. I mean, I even try to put Obelisk in decks that don't make sense or don't need it. Like, for example, Crunchy Hour. I tried a version of Crunchy Hour earlier this week that splashed Xenon Obelisk. I cut all the torches and jammed in 4 Xenon Obelisk. And while it's very unnecessary, it felt very satisfying to have 6/6 Witching Hour tokens.
Absolutely. Well, I do have to say the funny thing, and that example kind of breaks what I was going to say, but it's in the Praxis versions, Xenon Obelisk, I guess, shouldn't be called Xenon Obelisk because it rarely gets played in Xenon decks.
Right.
It gets played in Praxis, or it gets played in like mono time token generation decks, with like Humbug Swarm and things like that.
Mm.
But that's just a little, lore nerd in me talking.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Tony G's Armory list a little bit. Tony G got knocked out of the tournament by the eventual winner, Lights Out Ace. Tony G was hoping Lights Out Ace would lose in the, and not have to play against him because he knew that Grenadins was going to be a rough matchup for him. I think Tony won 1 of the games, so I think it went 3-1, but Tony really didn't stand a chance. But that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, Armory. It's just your traditional, Rakano Artisan on 2, a bunch of weapons to back it up, and top it off with Daisho and Ikaria the Liberator.
Wait, what's the card you just talked about? I can't remember the name of it. The one with the 2 swords.
Rakano Artisan?
No, the weapon that lets you attack
Star
twice?
Steel Daisho.
Why wouldn't they let you show them your Daisho? It's still just all week long. I couldn't resist.
It was a big Daisho.
Check out Platypus clips. Check out Platypus clips. He was trying to show another player his giant Daisho, and it got the player that he was playing against. They dropped from the game before he could. So he's a big fan. You can see how red he's turning right now. It's a good clip on the pod or on the VODs. And
word choice matters.
It does. Word choice matters. Oh, baby, baby, baby. This is going to be great.
That was the lesson we learned that day on stream.
All right. Anyway, my favorite card in this deck is something that I talked to you about when you were talking about, I might want to play AP mid-range, or I might play Armory. I don't know what to put in sideboard. And that's Devastating Setback. And when it got quote-unquote nerfed, and yes, it was nerfed, everybody said, oh, Devastating Setback's useless now. Obviously not the case. Still a great card, in my opinion at least.
I missed the permanent neg 2, but yeah, it's overall a buff. It's overall an upgrade. Unfortunately.
No, it's a great card. But yeah, if you guys can't tell, Tony G, great deck builder, but more importantly, I think, especially for the Platypus King and a lot of fans of his stream, Tony G loves to fall back into the armory subsets. It is an archetype that ThePlatypusKing really likes. It is the reason that I started following ThePlatypusKing was armory decks. And we have blossomed into this fantastic partnership. But armory it's in an interesting place in any CCG or TCG, because a lot of people say, you're playing solitaire, it's not fair, your opponent just can't do anything. Dang it, that is why I like it. Put some armor on yourself, you have a bunch of removal, and your opponent just has to sit there and watch your weapons get bigger, your guys get bigger, and you just control the game. It's so fun.
Yeah, Armory, honestly, Armory, the archetype as a whole, is what made me fall in love with this game way back in set 1 when I first downloaded it. It's the thing that always kept me coming back. I took a little bit of a break last year after set 2 came out, and then this Tavrod card came out and put Armory back on top. And I was like, all right, you got me. I'm here. You know, Jex Bounty came out and had Quarry. I'm like, oh man, Armory just got so much better. I'm back. You know, whatever it was. Anytime there's an improvement to this archetype or it makes a resurgence of any kind, I get very excited. So
he's holding up a can and he smashed on his head after winning a game with Armory, by the way.
Oh no, it wasn't even winning a game. It was just seeing my opening hand having a Rakano Artisan in it. After I did just win a couple games, but man, never forget.
Well, part of the reason that we're talking about this sort of in the past tense is, one, it's from the ETS, but also when you go to the ThePlatypusKing's YouTube page or you go to the VOD section of the Twitch stream, you'll find an interview that ThePlatypusKing did with Tony G yesterday. They talked a bit about this deck. They talked a bit about Eternal as a whole and kind of where everybody, where they thought the game was sitting, and then things that they would like to see moving forward. It's a great interview. I was not able to be a part of it, unfortunately, but it's a good watch, and you learn some stuff from it, from a really strong deck builder, from a formerly really good streamer, but he took some time off because he was working, and then ThePlatypusKing.
I win. I am the one and only streamer that matters. Watch me and no one else. No, I'm just kidding. Support everyone.
Yeah. Support everybody. Support the game. But in the interview with Tony G was great. Talking about the deck. The deck is awesome. I can't wait for set 4 because we're gonna get guaranteed we get more relic weapons and more pants for guys and more dudes that buff weapons, I'm sure. But we're doing these little bonus interviews and little bonus podcasts when we have time or when we find something that's interesting to talk about. And one of those things coming up is an interview with Lights Out Ace, who is I'm gonna say something here and I might be wrong. I might get corrected down the road, but the premier streamer for RNG Eternal, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
Right, yeah,
he's the main, other than the ETS, he's the main one that uses that channel to stream on Twitch.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk to him. It may be just ThePlatypusKing and him, but the podcast, Unexpected Results, will have an episode with Lights Out Ace that is live this week. It'll be 30 minutes to an hour long, like the Tony G spot was. Oh my gosh, the Tony G interview was. And you'll get his take. He'll talk a little bit about how he builds decks, kind of what goes on in his head when he's doing stuff and how he's playing. It will be very good. It'll be something worth checking out. And we'll continue to sprinkle in these little unexpected results, unexpected podcasts as we continue moving forward.
I like that. Yeah, I think we're shooting for Wednesday afternoon. Not positive on the time or the details yet, but it sounds like Wednesday, sometime after he gets off work. So just stay tuned, follow my stream. You'll find out the time.
That's right. I was going to say if anybody has any recommendations for people we could interview, but everybody's just going to say, oh, interview me. So there's obviously a...
Get a Direwolf Digital developer. Get a dev.
Absolutely. That is something that we are working on. To anybody at Direwolf Digital, even if you're not directly involved with Eternal, we would love to talk to you. Reach out to ThePlatypusKing on Twitter, at Platypus Island, myself on Twitter, at MantedMan, or we will soon have an Eternal Podcast Twitter account. We'll have an email set up. We'll give you guys a way to reach out to us. We'll make it very easy. So we expect to hear from one or a bunch of you very soon.
Yeah, LSV confirmed.
Awesome. I don't want to jump into that too far. Let's leave that alone for a little bit later. Little spice sprinkled in there for anybody paying attention.
I would love to interview LSV, but anyways, let's move on.
All right. Before I do want to talk about the Singleton event, but before we do that, let's talk just a touch more on some of the stuff that the Eternal Podcast Unexpected Results is doing in conjunction with Team Rankstar. I'm going a little bit off script. That's why you can see Platypus is like, what the heck is going on? After our stream tonight, after the podcast, we would love for you guys to go and check out Sifu Danny's stream when it goes live. They are doing, on his stream, they're doing this new event with Team Rankstar that we're kind of expanding on called Dumpster Decking, where you get a card. It is usually garbage, and then you build a deck around it, and the winner will get a prize. I don't want to talk too much about what that prize or the rules and stuff are. I'd love you guys to go check out Sifu Danny. Great streamer, a lot of good content, does interviews, things like that. So go check him out.
Absolutely. Friend of the stream, friend of the team, is on the team. Boom, done did it.
That's right. All right. Singleton event. I'm just going to leave this one to you because somebody on this podcast is top 50, top 100.
I think I fell to 51. Rank 51 was the last rank I saw when I was on game today. In game.
There you go. Platypus played for 6.5 hours on Friday and just ground out this event. And then he shared his decks with me and the rest of the stream that was paying attention. And a bunch of people actually did really well with them. I think I'm in like 245th after 3 runs or something, playing your armory. Well, not armory, but your Fire Time Shadow deck. Or Fire Justice Shadow, sorry.
Yes. The armory colors. Yeah, so I did my first 5 runs, right? The first run I did, just in theory, it seemed like Feln was very well positioned. And I don't think it was not well positioned. It's a weird way to say that. I did my first run with Feln. I went 7-2. I believe a Twitch user named Pinsley is the one that gave me the list. He has a different name on the in-game and stuff, but I went 7-2 with that. I liked the deck a lot. I thought there was a couple things that I could tweak to make it a little bit better, and I know Feln Boy, also known as Xenaton, was going with Feln, so I was trying to get his list, but it was taking me a little too long to get his list from him. So I decided to try, for my second run, Notorious GHP's Combray list, and that was okay. I went 4-3 with it, though, and I wasn't overall impressed. Like, it had Voda combo in it, and I did Voda combo somebody with Mystic Ascendant on the table. I had Stand Together in hand, I had a Seraph online. I just had it all. The opponent was dead. I had if they were able to somehow deal with my board, which they weren't even playing a harsh roll deck, I think that they were playing Praxis. I had the Great Parliament for 50 up, So I was not going to lose that game. It was going to be very challenging to lose. I would have to lose the game myself, by hitting concede. Which I did actually almost do. I don't know what I did, but I just randomly, slapped my hands on my table and clicked on the settings button and almost clicked concede on one game this week that I was winning. Just going off on some tirade. Anyway, that's off topic, but yeah, so okay, run 1, Feln. Run 2, Combray. Run 3 and 4, Feln. Both of those were 5-3, 4-3 finishes. And then my last run was with this Fire Justice Shadow deck, which I went 7-1 with. And that deck felt really, really good. I tried some other lists. I did some extra runs. I probably did an extra 5 runs or so. And they felt, I had a lot of fun with this event. A lot of people, kind of dismissed it in a way, thinking that, or saying that, you know, oh, it's just jam all of your legendaries in from a faction into a deck list, submit. That's not fun. I'm like, I think that's fun. I got to play with Navani Warsinger, or Warsinger, however the name is pronounced. And you never get to play with that card. It's not quite good enough for ranked play. Ejin, the armor smith guy, that unit that used to be, you know, it's a 3/2 for 3, and you can pay 4 to put a 4/4 armor on one of your units, other than itself. I have never gotten to play with that card, and it was a blast. That card was an all-star. I drew it a lot, and it was just so much fun to play with these little cards that you never, ever, ever, ever get to see played in in ranked. They're not good enough for tournament scene either, you know, and you got to be really lucky to draft one, right? So I really enjoyed the event. I think it'd be cool if they made either this specifically or a variation of this singleton event into an actual format that you could choose to play on purpose. You just enter a queue to play it on purpose every now and again. That'd be pretty cool.
I was gonna say, and I agree with that last statement. So much so, actually, I would say that you would get a lot more mileage out of a lot of these cards, like Ejin and like Navani, because they don't fit it. They're not seen in draft, but rarely, if ever. They don't hit the ranked scene at anything above, you know, bronze or low silver or something like that.
Right.
So having them having a new format in a singleton format, or like a 2-of or something like that style, where you can play, maybe even get prizes, but if nothing else, some extra gold and things like that when you're only on bronze chests for ranked, would be fantastic. And you would get to see these kind of cards, and it could help you come up with other ideas for like ranked combos and things like that. Because I agree with you, man. My first run was with the Elysian deck, and Cirso did a buttload of work. Talir, the first Talir, I can't remember her tag, but the one that makes everything
classic
Destiny.
Scion. Yeah.
She did a bunch of work. Never even thought I would get to play her, let alone see her. And then, so I think I went like 5-3, or maybe 6-3 in that run. Oh, 5-3 in the first run is what it says here. And then second and third runs were the Armory deck that you finished yours with. And man, I must have seen either Ejin or Navani every game. But every time I got Ejin, I was like, this game's in the bag, baby. As long as she doesn't get killed immediately, just going off once, she is an all-star, like you said.
My opponents were very, this was quite a coincidence that occurred throughout every run I did, but it felt like the bulk of my opponents that were playing Justice always had Valk Enforcer on turn 3, or, you know, the first time I played out a unit. I was like, this is a coincidence, but man, how unlucky am I?
Well, see, I got the 3 games that I lost in my second run. I remember this because it was so frustrating, were because turn 1 they hit mana, and either turn 1 or power. Either turn 1 or turn 2. I mean, it was before the third turn, and all my losses that they got Crown Watch Paladin. I was like, are you kidding me? A 2/1 already kicks my butt in ranked, and in this format, how am I supposed to beat this?
That's me. I had that card in my opening hand a lot.
Golly,
or drew it on turn 2. Oh, this is good. Is this good? Are you dead? I kept some hands that were actually not very good at all, but they had that card on turn 2, and I'm like, well, I'm going to risk it, see if that's good enough, and it usually was.
Turns out Aegis is not only ridiculously good in ranked, but unabashedly good in this singleton format, because there's already not a lot of cards that deal with Aegis, especially on multicolor stuff, but it is just it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I'm sure I definitely made some players rage quit with some of the curves that I had. Something similar to, Oni Ronin into Champion of Glory into Ejin into activate Ejin or something. Something like that. I'm sure I did some plays similar to that on my run, on my multiple runs, and it was pretty good. No, I did one run today, and one more bonus run today with the Fire Justice Shadow list. I think it was today. Might have been yesterday. It all blends together for me. I play so much. And I went 1-3.
Well, Well, I haven't done that poorly yet, but I also have only played like 3 or 4 runs. So, um, there one anybody who hasn't played all of their runs because they're like, oh, I'm not going to get any better rank. Incredible value, by the way, for doing this. If you get 4 wins, you get more than the money that you put in. You're getting packs, you're getting cards, like you're getting a premium, even if it's just an uncommon. I think at 4 wins.
Even at 1 win, it's probably the same for 0 wins. You get 2 packs plus two random premium cards, uncommons. I think commons, or maybe just a common and an uncommon. Either way, at just entering, you've already broke even, better than broke even, because you got these 2 extra guaranteed premium cards or whatever. So it's like, just do it, man.
Yeah, the value's good. The format is fun. There's some people, I get it, you're never going to get them on board because it's inconsistent, or it feels like it's inconsistent. I actually saw you build a decent enough, like you build a deck that's got a good bell curve to it, and Rankstar will put in an article that talks about the bell curve. You build that bell curve well, and your decks will be consistent. That's just a mathematical truth. And it was a lot of fun. I think we're both saying the same thing, that if this was a format that was in the game, they would see a lot of play from us. And I think a lot of the community feels the same way. There was a ton of people talking about how much fun it was, how good it was. A lot of it was talking about the value. So the value would go away if it was a format that stuck around in the game. But I would still play at least a few runs a week, 4 or 5 runs a week, just to be like, something to break up the monotony of a ranked grind.
I think it would be a great format, especially for new players too, because they only have to craft 1 copy of any given, legendary card, right? And plus, you're just not going to. It's just easier to build a deck for the format because you only need 1 card of everything. You're a new player, and everybody's just going to overall see a less consistently powerful draw in a lot of cases. Like, sure, you're going to be playing a lot of one of legendary cards. If you have every card available to you, you will choose that, but you're not going to be that far behind if you just have every good common and uncommon in your deck from that color pairing,
Right. And there were decks that were mono fire, and there's only like 4 or 5 legendary, and they weren't fantastic, but they did work. You saw people posting records where they went 5-3, 6-3, 7-3 in some cases, with decks that had only 1 or 2 legendaries. But because they were just focused, fire is just a lot of face damage. And if somebody isn't able to get their draw and get their dudes on the board, you're blasting people with obliterate. You're hitting them with fire, the flame blast or whatever to the face. You're catching them with even piercing shots and things like that. Like it is a lot of fun, and it's very accessible. Like you said, very accessible to new players, very accessible to people with small collections. Maybe they're not new. Maybe they just don't play as much as you or I do. It's great.
Absolutely. Yeah, like, I think one cool thing, like, if they were to make this an actual format that we could choose to queue into at any time, or, whatever, maybe they could do a version where your avatar is like a legendary card like Icaria, right? And you could cast your Icaria multiple times, and when it dies, you can recast it. Maybe it costs more every time you cast it, after every time it dies. But it'd be really cool, specifically if you had that type of thing, and your avatar was like the leader of your deck or something, and you could recast it multiple times in this singleton format. That card specifically, the card that was your leader.
That would be great if you. So you're saying like take a card, you play with your deck, and you pick 1 unit to be your avatar, and you can play it, and then if it dies, it goes right back to your hand, but the cost goes up by 1.
Or 2, or something like that.
Yeah.
But specifically, whatever card you choose to be the leader of your deck, so to speak, is also your avatar. And that I would like it to not be in your hand. It would reside in that avatar space that where your life total is and everything.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It'd be like your character comes to life.
that would be really cool.
Very flavorful way to do that interaction or whatever, that mechanic.
It would, yeah. There's other games that do things that are similar, but the format is very widely known. Just the singleton style format. It's been around a long time in a bunch of different TCGs and CCGs. So I think I think something like that would be really good. So I think that's what we're both saying. Put it into the game long term. give newer players or more casual players another route to make a couple extra gold every week.
Exactly.
Anything else on the singleton outside of we like it, bring it back, let's do more?
No, nothing else outside of I've said everything I have to say about it. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I would like to play it more. There was a up and down. A lot of people really liked it, and the people that liked it really liked it. It seems like, and the people that didn't so much like it, that they didn't hate it. They were just like, not for me, and that's fine. Like, more ways to play is better. I've already said that before. Like when we were talking about the sealed league coming into the game, more ways to play the game on a regular basis, the better for the game's health overall.
I agree. Well, speaking of sealed league, let's spend a couple of minutes. Let's talk about progress for the sealed league. We're wrapping up the second week of this chapter. How are you doing in sealed league right now?
If I recall correctly, I'm 16-4. I did not actually build my deck until week 2. I opened my 2 extra packs or whatever for the second week. I still disliked my pool. I could not see a very good deck in there at all. So I scrapped it, resigned, re-entered, and I didn't look back. Went 16-4. I didn't play any of my tiebreaker games this time around. I'm probably not going to. That's a little too many games of sealed for me personally. But I like my deck a lot more now that I've rejoined the queue.
Sure. So I'm in the same boat. I did play week 1. I played again week 2. I haven't played any tiebreakers. I literally just did my 10 games. I love the sealed league. We talked about this before. I love the fact that it's in the game, that it's constant. I still feel like the tiebreaker games are a grind. I still feel like I'm missing out, probably not doing them. How bad do you think it is for people not playing their tiebreakers? Like, are we going to get punished on leaderboards for not doing it, even if we do really well?
I feel like a lot of people aren't playing their tiebreakers, so yeah, you might be getting a little punished. You might be getting an advantage if you're definitely going to get an advantage if you actually do them. I don't think you're going to go up that many ranks, though, if you win a bunch of tiebreakers. I think the most important part, obviously, is your actual standing, your actual record. And your tiebreakers aren't going to improve that a whole lot, I don't think. And I've heard people in the chat or wherever on social media and stuff say that that they don't think the tiebreaker matches are that important and they don't change your rank that much.
Well, I'm going to justify it to myself by saying that they aren't that important, they don't matter, because I still refuse to play 20 extra games a week in that format. Again, great format. I'm a big sealed player. I can't build decks and ranked and stuff to save my life. I find other people's decks that they say do well, and I practice those. I steal them from your stream all the time. I tweak them a little bit here and there because there are certain cards that I like the flavor of and what they bring to a deck, but I'm not a deck builder, but yeah.
Or maybe you just don't feel like crafting this random one of card or two, this random legendary that I decided to put into the deck because it's my pet card or something.
Yeah, exactly. But I am a good drafter, and I am a good sealed player. Like, I finish in Masters and in draft every season or in every chapter, or really close to it. I guess 2 months ago or 2 chapters ago, I finished in Diamond just because I didn't take the time. But I really enjoy the sealed format and the limited formats, but 20 extra games a week for tiebreakers is just a little much for me. And I think it is for a lot of the community.
I agree.
All right. Well, so sealed league still going strong. Most people still enjoy it. It sounds like a lot of people, Platypus and myself included, aren't a big fan of the tiebreakers. Hopefully they're not limiting us too much, holding us back too much. But I'm glad it's in the game. Are you still glad it's in the game as a staple?
I'm definitely glad it's in the game. I hope it sticks around. I would like I think if there were only 10 tiebreaker games a week, I think that would encourage me to. I think I would actually play them if it was only 10. I think I would actually play more.
That would
20 is daunting.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think 10 would not necessarily encourage me, but would be less of a discouragement because now if I play a couple of tiebreakers, all I can think about is I probably should play more, but golly, I have 17 more to do.
Have you ever like you're hungry, but like the idea of eating an entire cheeseburger, it's like I can't do that. I just don't like I'm hungry. I just don't have the appetite to do it. But if somebody puts it in front of you that many chicken nuggets, you're like, well, yeah, I'll just eat this one chicken nugget, and then you eat them all. It'd be this, or like you open up a bag of chips, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna have a couple chips. Next thing you know, you ate the entire bag. I think it's like that. If you just had to do, if you had a smaller portion size, I think you would end up doing it all. It'd just snowball into, till you finish.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Sealed League is good. I will say, and I think at this point, the way that some of the stuff has been worded, one of the really big things I do like about the chapter and having this other event is it is encouraging Direwolf to put out more lore, which is something I'm a big fan of. We're going to talk a little bit about the lore behind some leaks in a little bit. So I do like that, but I would like them to say, oh, this month, chapter, blah, 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 a new experience, maybe a different kind of style. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Sealed League is here to stay as the only monthly league thing, which I'm okay with. I would like to see more ways to play the game.
Yes, me too.
All right. So we talked a little bit about, hinted a little bit about lore. Let's talk a bit about some of these promos that have come out. We got 3 new set 4 leaks since the last podcast. Just a quick overview. We got a Yeti, which we're going to talk about first. We got a dinosaur, probably a dinosaur. Maybe not quite sure what it is. And then we got an Umbran woman who is actually an Umbran and not partially an elf like we talked about last week. Actually, she's meiotic. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. There's a lot of comparisons to other cards in these cards. So let's talk about the Yeti first.
No.
All right,
let's start with the Umbran. Let's start with the Umbran.
So,
let's leave the Yeti for last.
Sure. So we'll start with the Umbran. You're going to see me look into this way here because I'm looking at my screen. She is at first glance an Umbran because she's got the purple face. But if you look on the part or the other half of her body, the right half, which is holding the Dark Wisp, which we'll talk about a little bit as well, she is still Lumen. So she is half and half, much like Meiotic Wisp, which is a terrible card. Meiotic Wisp currently is a 2-cost 0/3 flyer that says your Radiant costs 1 less, and ultimate 7. When 7 other units go to the Void, draw a Radiant of your choice from your deck. So pretty bad card.
I honestly forgot that card existed.
But she is very much like the Meiotic Wisp. She is half Lumen, half Umbran. Probably a little bit more Umbran than Lumen, but she's holding in her hand a Dark Wisp, which is a 2-cost 1/1 entomb draw card. Do you think this card is going to be a unit that creates Dark Wisps?
I was thinking that was a Spiteling.
It may be a Spiteling now that you're blowing the art up a little more.
Actually, maybe it's not.
It's hard to tell, man.
That was my first thought. It was that it was a Spiteling. Though I think the Spiteling faces look a little bit more beak-like, like an octopus owl hybrid face. And this thing looks like the Predator, like it's wearing the Predator mask or something.
So, but
yeah, that's a Dark
question.
Wisp. That is a Dark Wisp. Okay.
So so she's going to generate whatever that thing is, whether it's a Spiteling or a Dark Wisp or a unit that we haven't heard anything about yet. She's probably going to summon either through an ultimate or through hitting a player or something. She's going to summon other little guys onto the field in some form or fashion, right?
It's going to be like either Scrap Tank or Gear Cruncher, but except it summons Dark Wisps.
Oh my god! So it's almost like Scouting Party with a butt on it.
Yeah. And instead of hitting the opponent, you jump block. the opponent.
Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. I have to say.
So like, yeah, one hand is representing making dark wisps, right? What's the other hand doing? Like it's just an empty orb.
That's what I was going to say. So maybe it's going to be like if you have more power? Shadow. If not, hear me out. If you play this card, let's say it's like a 4 or 5 drop, something in there. If you have more shadow power, deal damage to the enemy when you spend X amount. If you have more time power or time influence, generate this many units, because she's holding the Dark Wisp in her Umbran or in her Lumen hand, and she's holding this energy orb in her Umbran hand. That would be awesome if you, depending on what kind of or influence you're leaning more towards.
Yeah, or maybe, yeah, exactly. If it's, if you have, you deal damage equal to the shadow influence, or you gain life equal to the time influence. Maybe you just choose. Maybe it's whichever one is higher. Maybe if they're equal, it's just like it does both. Something, I don't know. Yeah, that'd be cool if it did something like that. That would be interesting if it did some kind of like fire blast type of effect, one way or the other. Life gain or damage.
So what do we think? Rare or legendary?
Legendary.
I think legendary too. It looks like they put a lot into the artwork. It looks like it's going to have a lot of power behind it, whatever it does.
If it does anything remotely similar to what we just described, legendary. Otherwise, bulk rare.
Very cool.
It's either going to be an insane legendary or bulk rare.
The art on it, by the way, is fantastic.
It's beautiful.
It's this set, the more we see, now we're about to contradict what I'm going to say, but the other cards that we have looked at, they all have this kind of dark, kind of ominous feel to them. There's been roguish elves or Umbran, depending on who you talk to. There's been explosions, shadowy figures. You got this woman here who's half Lumen, half Umbran, summoning little demon things or something. So it's been a very dark set of previews and leaks so far. But the next card, not so dark. Actually, quite humorous.
Here we are. We got some kind of dinosaur.
That thinks he's an owl.
That thinks he's an owl. Yeah, you got these 6 owls. They're all smashed in together like sardines for whatever reason. There's plenty of room on this branch. I don't know why they all have to be so close to each other. And then this all the owls look very angry. And then there's this one little baby looking dinosaur of some sort sitting there with them. He looks a little bit dumb, for lack of a better way to say it. He looks a little bit, maybe he just doesn't have a care in the world. I don't know, but he's not on the same wavelength mentally as these owls, but this art is adorable. I wish this art is a card art that makes me wish that there were, that I could get actual card sleeves in real life with eternal card art on them. And
oh yeah.
For, whatever kind of cards I have that I need to sleeve up, Yeah,
or a physical playmats. This is a playmat I would use. Would be
absolutely
goofball owl dinosaur. I have no idea what this card is going to do. By the way,
if you had a playmat of this, you would get a lot of compliments when you go to a tournament or wherever you go to play whatever you play with your playmat. I'm currently using a playmat as a mousepad. I can't wait till I win the ETS next week or lose in the finals to get a real mousepad.
There you go. Let's theorize a little bit about what this goofy card is going to do. Obviously,
Combray.
I was going to say, obviously, either Combray or Elysian. I think Combray is probably right, but Elysian has a fair amount of dinosaurs and stuff as well, and kind of some goofy magic.
But owls.
Yeah, I know, owls.
Owls and dinosaurs line up together in Elysian. I mean, I guess I don't think there really are Justice. Sorry, I said Elysian. I meant Combray. There aren't really any Justice dinosaurs that I can think of off the top of my head, and there's not really any owls that are in time.
3-color? No way, this is 3-color, right?
Maybe this is Haru.
Because
there's owls in both of those.
Yeah, owls in both of those, and there's dinosaurs in Primal, so I can see it being Haru.
Because dinosaurs are what, time, primal, shadow? There's none.
There's a couple shadow, yeah. It's mostly time and primal.
There's a couple fire ones, aren't there? Or is that only dragons?
Dragons.
Either way.
Yeah, the chat will correct us here in a second. We'll get messages on the video.
I can't think of any Justice dinosaurs. Anyways, yeah. My theory is that this is a Combray card. Maybe it's something similar to the Great Parliament. Maybe it's a I think this is a spell and it summons tokens in some capacity.
That's what I was going to say. Is it's a spell and it summons tokens, or what I'm thinking is kind of along the lines of like pay X and either generate one XX. So you like pay 6, generate 1 6 6 or 6 1 1s. Like another kind of choice. A lot of these cards feel like they have a choice to them.
Yeah, either that or just like straight up just here's a dinosaur, here's a 5/5 dinosaur, a 3/3 dinosaur, and a couple of 1/1 flyers or something.
Yeah, that would be cool, and I could see that very much being, this spell.
I guess this could be a relic that makes tokens. But I feel like it's a spell. I would think that it's potentially like a Marison's Disciple card where you get the unit and then you choose a different thing to go with it. But this card art itself doesn't look like it would be one unit, which then also comes with other tokens. So I think it's a spell, and you either get one dinosaur and a few owls, or you get to choose either this or that. Maybe like a 3/3 dino with killer. And I mean, this little dino, he's too cute to be a killer. But
I don't know. Look at them teeth.
I think we're gonna subvert expectations. All these owl tokens have killer. Bunch of 1/1 killer owls.
I'd love it. If I made killer owls, man, we got a problem. The only other thing I could think of if this was going to be a unit, it would be a dinosaur that has some kind of like chameleon flavor to the name or something like that, and he gets another type to him of your choosing, and
Yeti.
you get, so it could help any of the tribal styles. So like summon, when this comes into play, choose another type that this unit is, or something along those lines.
It's okay, so it's a dinosaur unit, and when it hits the player, you get a tribal token of your choice. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's a little broad. I don't know. But he's like pretending. The reason I say that is in this picture, he's obviously pretending to be an owl. He's not fooling anybody, but he himself believes it. So I could see it. Maybe you only have 3 or 4 choices. Like this dinosaur is either an owl or, a dragon or something else. Like it gives you access to have another type in there.
Maybe. At the end of the day,
ambush.
Who knows?
So the chat says ambush. I could see this being like a drop bear, like a koala. Maybe this dinosaur has ambush.
Call him
drop dino. You never heard drop bear? It's what they call koalas in Australia.
Can anybody confirm this? Yottabite, can you confirm this? No, I've never heard that phrase. It's just been a long time. I rarely hear that phrase. That's all. You just caught me off guard with the drop bear. And I can see it now. They're gonna make like we're gonna be able to buy little hats that are like a face hugging dinosaur.
I am waiting for, give me some eternal loot of some kind. I would wear a shirt that had like the eternal symbol on it, or even the Bandit Queen like icon from the Discord. I'd wear that shirt all the time, man. So yeah, people at Direwolf, make shirts. Give me a bumper sticker. Give me a sleeve actually for my iPad, because that's what I play Eternal on the most when I'm sitting at work and I should be working or in a meeting, is I'm playing Eternal instead.
Give me a playmat. Give me products.
A mouse pad, yeah.
Deck box. Give me things so I can. Yeah, let me spend money on it so I can buy extra copies and then give them away.
There you go. Yeah, we'll give away, because I don't need to spend. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have to spend money on your game because you're very good to free to play players at this point. And as long as you're a little dedicated, you have a lot of gold, you get to do all of the events and stuff like that. So I want to give you my money, but I can't justify doing it in the card game.
I'll buy a box of set 4 when it comes out, even though I have plenty of in-game resources. Yeah. I already have plenty of gems left over from the Founders Pack. I give me more cosmetics. Let me buy a new playmat in-game. That's another topic.
I do spend money in your game when you give us the cosmetics. So yeah, continue to give us cosmetics in game, but give me some out of game cosmetics as well. Let me promo your stuff. You like this grassroots advertising because you don't
Give
want to
me a
advertise
hat.
anywhere else. So let me advertise for you. Give me stuff to advertise.
Yes. Well,
All
any
right.
final thoughts on this card art?
I'm officially calling it Drop Dino until
Drop
proven
Dino.
otherwise.
All
I
right.
love it. This dinosaur has ambush, and it is called Drop Dino.
All right. Now let's go ahead and assemble all the Chaos Emeralds into our Infinity Gauntlet here for the greatest Yeti that ever lived.
All
That's right. We
right.
got some crossovers happening here. If Fortnite
Don't
can
worry if
crossover,
you're.
we can crossover.
Don't worry, we're not going to give you any spoilers, but yes, we do have a Thanos Yeti here. He does have a lot of things going on.
And Marvel, Disney, if you're listening, it's all in good fun. We're just promoting your product for you on accident for free.
That's right.
Anyways.
Please don't sue us or the developers of this game. The first part about this, and
I love it.
whispered platypus in Discord. So, like last week and the week before, I don't think it was on the podcast, but definitely on a stream. ThePlatypusKing is like, I could build a Yeti deck. I just need one more Yeti Lord. I need one more Yeti Bomb card. Well, it looks like you're about to get it.
I hope so. I very much hope so.
You got a lot of things going on, man. This dude is cute. He's powerful. His eyes are glowing. He's got an orange, or I think that's supposed to be yellow. So he's got a time stone, a justice stone, and a fire stone. And there's a blue one in the middle, but he also has a blue one above his head. So there's a primal stone in there as well. So he is definitely assembling the infinity necklace.
Man, I just want to keep staring at this card. It's adorable. You know, we've already the other two cards. All the art so far, the art of these three cards specifically is fantastic. Some would say phenomenal. I am a big fan of the art of this card specifically. This is my favorite thing that I've ever seen in the game of Eternal art-wise. I want this on my wall. I want it on a deck box. I want it on sleeves. I want it everywhere.
So it is a unit, obviously, right? It is the final and greatest Yeti Lord.
I think that that is one of the options that it could be. Yeah.
And so what I said on stream when we were talking, or not on stream, you were on stream. What I said on stream when they leaked this is that it is his effect when he comes into play is he hailstorms everybody except himself. Yeah, that's got to be. If this is a unit, look at the art, man. There's ice balls raining from the sky.
I could see this Yeti summoning an ice quake, maybe even one-sided.
That would be sick. He'd be expensive though. Icequake is a 7-drop, right?
Yeah, it's fine. Making 2-drop. It's balanced. Maybe he's a modal card. I don't know. See, here's the thing that throws me off with the card and like trying to predict what it does is the necklace. The necklace for this art of this spoiled art for a new card from set 4. It's the necklace that throws me off of trying to predict what it does.
It lends itself to having something to do with 4 factions: Primal, Time, Justice, and Fire. And that is a little daunting because if that's like a power requirement, we're talking about a possibly unplayable card, man.
Maybe it's like more like in the vein of like the champion cycle. Like this is a primal card, but then it has these extra abilities on summon if you have this threshold, this threshold, this threshold, or this threshold, or all the above. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe I could see this being a spell. I think it is going to care about having extra influence, but I don't think it's going to cost extra influence. I think it's going to be a primal card, and I think it's going to be the first spell that has like the champion style of ability. Like you cast it, say it's a 4-drop. It's a 4-cast spell, and you deal, by default, you deal however much damage, 2 damage, 3 damage, whatever, to your opponent's side of the board. Then if you have this threshold of time, or this threshold of fire, or this threshold of justice, it does one of these things. That's my idea. Somehow it's going to care about thresholds.
Yeah, I can see that being the case just from the art in it. I hope for your sake it is a Yeti Lord, but I like the idea of this being a spell that has those kind of champion effects.
This little fellow definitely is a shaman. He's going to be a Yeti shaman.
Well, that's true. Even if this art is not the art for a spell, he may be in the game in another form on a card. So all hope is not lost if this is a spell art.
Fair, yeah. This character, I mean, they had to. This card has to have generated a lot of positive feedback already, and so if this character's not in, like, on another card art or whatever in set 4, I'm sure this is not the last that we will have seen of him or of other Yetis that have this same occupation or whatever, the same type of rank, this profession.
Absolutely. So.
He's mean. Look at that bird skull on his elbow.
Yeah, he is a bit mean.
He kind of looks like he's about to ascend into a giant, into a Jotun, whatever those are.
Ooh, I could see that.
Look at his arms, his hands.
Oh, they are a little bit less furry. Yeah,
they're bigger.
They're big. Yeah.
It looks like he could be. He could be ascending into adulthood or something. Another birth song type of effect. Maybe this is the Yeti at the center of the birth song. I don't know.
Oh, well, we need another birth song. I love the lore, and we need another way to turn Yetis into Jotuns because that card is not playable.
Or maybe all this snow or ice that we see are actually baby Yetis being born, and they are born from ice.
Don't say that. We do not need another card that generates a buttload of Yetis.
Sure we do. Listen to yourself.
All right. Overall, all 3 of these art leaks or art reveals, I'm happy with. Like you said, the art looks great, man. We got cute, we got dark, we got fun, we got powerful Yeti shaman lords.
I wish for just a moment I could enter the mind of one of the developers that knows what these cards are, like a la being John Malkovich or something, and hear their inner thoughts while we are talking about what we think these cards do. And they're laughing hysterically, just thinking, these guys are stupid. These are all shadow cards or something. These are all this random, this very obvious thing. And I don't know. We're like completely off base. These are all changelings.
There you go. Yeah, there are no new units. They're all changeling cards.
These are all failed reflections of Caleb.
This is the Umbran clone. This is the dinosaur clone. Look, it's Yeti Caleb. Oh man. All right, so cards looking great. We've gone through a bunch of leaks the last couple of weeks. Go back and check out the other podcasts to look at those. Talk about them on the subreddit in the Discord with ThePlatypusKing or just the Eternal Discord. It's going to be a lot of fun. The set is coming soon. Stop laughing. You're going to make me keep going, man. The next thing I want to hit on just a touch is we should get our promo event next week, right? We should get find out what the promo card for this month is going to be, or for this chapter.
I had completely forgotten about that. That sounds accurate to me.
So that's what I'm hoping for.
You know what?
I want some more lore, baby.
I think we will wake up tomorrow and it will be revealed. Or maybe even live. It'll either be revealed and announced to be going live, towards the weekend, or maybe like midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think we'll find out what it is tomorrow, one way or the other.
What happened last time was right when we finished the first episode of the podcast, literally 20 minutes after we finished Eternal card game, posted on Twitter the picture of Bren's face, and all the conspiracy theories started. So I'd be lying if I said I wasn't stalling a little bit to try and drag the show out to see if that happened, because I've been refreshing their Twitter page. Oh,
as I pull up my phone to go to their Twitter right now. You're already ahead of me.
Well, yeah, so I'm excited about these cards. I'm excited about the new set. They are very clearly, some people are like, oh, these aren't going to be in step 4. These are going to be in, this could be the promo for the coming up stuff. It's not. The cards are very or the art is very clearly labeled set 4 teaser 1, set 4 teaser 2, set 4 teaser 3. We've done 6 of them so far. We'll have 2 to 3 more next week to talk about. So it's really good.
Or we'll just have set 4 randomly.
Please don't say that. I don't want set 4 to come out before I move. So because I won't.
Oh, it's going to.
I know. I hate you, but it will. But speaking of set 4, we talked about what Platypus King and I are both going to spend some money on set 4. This month, the Platypus King and his stream at the Platypus Island are giving away Steam gift cards, so you'll be able to buy some packs when set 4 comes out. Every month from here ad infinitum, the Platypus King is giving away $25 Steam gift cards to a lucky subscriber currently to his Twitch channel. There'll be some more stuff he's going to go over in just a second, all the ways that you can win. But yeah, definitely subscribe to his Twitch channel to catch the podcast live every week, Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and enter to win some $25 Steam gift cards so you can buy boxes upon boxes of set 4 cards and have all the greatest legendaries. How else can they win, Platypus King?
Well, they definitely have to come to twitch.tv/ThePlatypusKing and be a subscriber of my channel in order to enter. You just type in !giveaway sub into the chat if you are a subscriber to the channel, and you will be entered into the contest, into the giveaway, and you'll get extra entries if you retweet the specific tweet, follow me on Twitter, etc., etc. Follow subscribe to the YouTube channel. A few other ways like that. Once you sign up, you'll see all that information. And yeah, we'll be announcing the winners of that giveaway on the last episode of Unexpected Results for the month, every month. So this first one will be here in 2 weeks from today, as we record this, May 27th. We'll announce it at some point during the episode, so be here at the beginning, sit through it till the end, find out if you won. You do not have to be present to win, but you'll be more excited if you hear it live, right? So do it live. That's what I have to say about that. We'll reach out to you by email or whatever else. Yeah.
Absolutely, and give us a reason to be excited for you to win. Let me say the contest is it's perfectly random. Platypus King nor myself or any of the Team Ringster members have any control over who wins. It is a procedurally generated result. But if you come on his stream and subscribe and interact, the community is great. Not only are the Team Rankster members great, but the people who interact on Platypus King stream are all a lot of fun. There's a lot of regulars, so you'll always have people to come back to. Everybody's really good about kind of coaching one another and giving helpful tips and tricks. We interact a lot on the Discord as well. So give us a reason to be excited. I want to call somebody's name that I know from the Twitch chat that is active, that there's an inside joke about him or something like that. It makes it a lot more fun for us. It's a lot more fun for you. And while we just love giving stuff away anyway, it's even more fun to give stuff away to people who contribute to the community. And we love that the community is growing. So come be a part of that. Come have some fun. And if you're not into any of that, come use your Twitch Prime value and get in on this $25 gift card. There are 3 this month, correct? There's 3 $25 gift cards at the end of the month.
Yep, and the plan is to have at least 3 out there, to give away every month. Maybe there'll be more in the future. Maybe eventually it'll be a bigger amount. Who knows what the future holds? But for now, yeah, trying to give away 3 $25 Steam gift cards every month, just to give back to my dedicated viewers, members of the King's Legion here on Platypus Island. And yeah, just come on by. Hey, all the moderators on my channel are sweethearts. Hey, who knows? If you're just an active member of the community, maybe somebody will gift you a sub, and then you'll be able to enter the giveaway.
Yeah, and then it really is 0 money for a significant return.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, then take that gift card, buy stuff. Buy some packs when Set 4 comes out, or buy whatever that game that's on your wish list that you've been wanting to get for the last 2 years, but never decided to pull the trigger on. Now you can finally do that by winning the giveaway.
That's right. Or if you're another streamer you can give it away on your stream after you win it. We don't
Yeah.
care.
Exactly. Maybe give it to your little brother that you forgot to buy a birthday present for. Now you can make up for it.
That's
Maybe
right.
You'll get it. Today as we record this, it's Mother's Day. Too late to give the card to her, but you win the contest. Give it to dear old dad on Father's Day out in June. The possibilities are limitless. With what you can do once you win this $25 Steam gift card.
Well, man, we covered everything from this week. We're just not gonna hit the promo coming live while we're still on the stream. That would have been fun, but it doesn't look like that's gonna happen while we're doing this. We talked about the ETS, not really so much the effects on the meta, though I think we're gonna see even more Dusky Hour or Scrappy Hour or Crunchy Hour at this point. I think across the board there's going to be a lot more Stone Scar permutations that play those Fire and Shadow cards to get to Witching Hour. We talked about the interview with Tony G that you did. Go check that out. Anybody listening, it's on the YouTube. It'll be on the VOD section of the Twitch. We talked about the upcoming Lights Out Ace interview that'll happen this week, probably on Wednesday.
It's looking like the current plan, I have just got word, is Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Time. So 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific.
All right.
On Wednesday, May 16th. That'll be when it is recorded live.
16th. Yeah, May 16th, live on the Twitch stream, just like every other podcast is. And then shortly after, it'll be in the VODs on YouTube.
At eternalpodcast.com. Eternalpodcast.com.
Oh,
currently
snap,
goes to the
we're
YouTube.
revealing that now. Nice, okay. I was going to say, we have some stuff that we're working on. So yes, www.eternalpodcast.com is the Eternal Podcast Unexpected Results website. It currently redirects to the YouTube. There will be a bunch of content that we put up on there, maybe entries into the future giveaways, things like that. Something we're really excited about. So, talked about Singleton. Great format. Please keep it in the game in some form or fashion.
Maybe even expand.
A lot of fun. Yeah, expand and do something. It's so good. Sealed League. We like it. Keep it in the game. Knock back the tiebreakers if we have any influence on you guys.
Yes.
The new art, the Meiotic woman, half Umbran, half Lumen, the owl dinosaur, and Yeti Thanos, trademark Marvel Entertainment.
I think Set 4 will come out at the latest before Father's Day.
I think you're probably right.
I am hoping it'll be out before this month is over. Tony G made a good point yesterday. Apparently, his plan when waiting for the next major set is once they release the campaign or or whatever between the sets, he stops spending Shiftstone and he stops spending gold. He stops drafting and just starts saving up all of those resources for when the next set comes out, so that he has infinite, effectively has infinite of those resources to get more of the product and get the cards that he needs for that day one Brewfest.
Yeah, to crack all the cards to get copies of everything so he can build, brew, have some fun. There's a lot of different ways that people approach the game as a whole. There's a lot of different ways that people approach the new set releases. Personally, I don't spend a ton of gold already as it is. I tend to cycle pretty well in draft because I do well. So it kind of just saves up automatically. But I buy 2 or 3 boxes a set of the cards when the set comes out. I know not everybody has the means to do that. That's fine. There are plenty of ways to collect gold and Shiftstone to craft your stuff. There's a lot of different ways to build your collection and have those resources on teamrankstar.com. There's a great article, and we'll be expanding that series on how to build better collections, how to prioritize cards, and what the best legendaries are, and what the best decks are to build. We're building tier lists, I know SPG and RNG are doing the same thing. So you'll have a lot of different ways to decide what cards are worth getting in the current sets, and then when the new set comes out, if you're a newer player.
I cannot wait for the first podcast that we do after Set 4 comes out. I'm sure we will almost exclusively just talk about the new cards.
Oh yeah, man. I would say, I think what we'll do, and we would love for your feedback, listeners, viewers, everybody, in Platypus King's Discord, in the feedback and ideas section. The way I would like to do it, the way I've done it for games in the past, is set release, talk about legendaries first. That's what everybody wants to hear about. In the next podcast, you talk about rares, impactful cards, things like that. Then we talk about commons, uncommons, any of the premier cards, the cards that are going to be really good, they're going to see a lot of play. Then you talk about the sealed formats, like the draft, how draft is looking after we've had a couple of weeks to do that. But how do you guys want to hear about it? Let us know in the comments on the YouTube video. Let us know in the feedback and ideas in the Discord channel, or come on Platypus' stream and talk to him live and bounce some ideas off of him. He interacts with literally everybody that he can. As long as he catches the message, he'll respond. We'd love to hear from everybody. And I'm in the Twitch chat every day, or almost every day. I think it's every day, at least for 10 minutes at a time.
But yeah, when Set 4 comes out, that'll probably end up being a lot of bonus podcasts that week. If I had to theorize, we'll see what happens. So that would be my theory. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And it's funny. Anybody who's not watching live, there's a lot of fun chat that happens in the Twitch chat during the live broadcast. There's a couple of players that people are talking about. I'm not going to name any names, but 3 days later, when so-and-so says this entire set's a joke, there's no good cards, and then 2 days after that, when somebody has set the new meta with only new cards, that's just the way it goes.
Can you show off your t-shirt to the stream real quick?
It is. So somebody's asking, this is Metamart from, let's see here, make sure this is good. This is a t-shirt from the Metamart from the now defunct, but still actually broadly played WoW TCG. The Metamart was started by a really good friend of mine, Damien, who collected a bunch of cards, was very heavy into the WoW TCG. I was very heavy into the WoW TCG. I was on a podcast called Question of Gluttony. I had some Darkmoon Fair wins. I had some top finishes in national and world tournaments. So I am wearing my Metamart World of Warcraft TCG shirt right now. Metamart still exists in some form or fashion for the Hex CCG and TCG, but it no longer is doing anything for the WoW cards, I don't think.
Rip in peace. All right, that about does it for us this week. Again, we'll be interviewing Lights Out Ace live on Wednesday, May 16th. It'll probably just be me. Probably. And so if you have any questions that you'd like me to ask Lights Out or Lights Out Ace or anything like that, send them to me on stream, get on the Discord, tweet them to me, what have you. And I'll be sure to ask him most of those questions. And again, if you're a sub to the channel, every month from here on out, we're giving away at least three $25 Steam gift cards. So come on down, check that out. Visit teamrankstar.com for great content all week, and specifically immediately after the stream or shortly after this stream, Seafood Danny is doing a deck building what is it?
Dumpster decking
challenge thing. So go over there to get all the details and information about that on Seafood Danny's stream. Yeah. Anyways, that's about it.
I was gonna say, closing comments of any kind.
I have one thing here. WWE Backlash. That was last Sunday, correct? Week ago?
Was
it already been 2 weeks?
Has it already been 2 weeks? I don't know, but Backlash was not terribly long ago.
Here's my question for you. In one word, give me a review of WWE Backlash 2018.
Surprising is probably my word.
Disappointing. Got
I would not say that, but that's fine. To each their own. Very subjective.
All
Part of my
right.
surprises were disappointments.
Fair.
Good closing thought. I have a closing thought for you as well. Set 4 is gonna be great. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler.
I love it. I love it. All right. Take it easy, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Don't die.